Joining me now on this and a lot more, Democratic Congressman Ted Lieu of California. He sits, of course, on the House Judiciary and Foreign Affairs Committee. Good morning, and good to have you.
Good morning, Poppy.
It's just another window into the push of the big lie, and we saw the violent, deadly consequences during the insurrection. Now, Speaker Pelosi is just minutes away from holding this meeting about what you do now, because there wasn't the bipartisan support to get that independent investigation pushed forward. So I wonder what you would like to see Speaker Pelosi call for, a House Select Committee, for example, or do you believe that standing committees should carry out their investigation?
Last week, the U.S. Senate asked for some more time to see if they could pass the bipartisan January 6th Commission. If that time has, in fact, run out, then the House will move forward. Speaker Pelosi can either appoint a select committee like the Benghazi Select Committee, or she can authorize one or more of the standing committees to do the investigation. In any event, these committees or committee will have subpoena power, and in the House, Republicans cannot block these subpoenas from being issued. So we're going to find the truth out, and the Republicans cannot stop us.
There's something extraordinary happening here when you look at the trickle-down impact of the big lie. Obviously, there is the deadly insurrection. There is this warning from the FBI about QAnon believers targeting members of what they call the cabal, which includes Democrats in their mind, a really serious warning from the FBI. And then now you have a man from New Hampshire who was charged in connection with the riot, in fact, went on to chug a bottle of wine from a Senate desk and then participate in the insurrection, say that he is going to run for New Hampshire's 2nd District in 2022. Listen.
In the long run, if you're running for office, I guess any attention is good attention. I think it'll help me. Despite my ongoing legal problems, I'm supposed to live my life how I want to live it, and it's something I want to do, so why not do it?
I wonder, I'm not asking about his specific run, but what does it tell you, big picture, that someone who participated in the deadly insurrection is saying that basically gives him more press and publicity, that helps him in his run for office, and is running to sit in the same chamber you sit in?
The big lie is deeply corrosive because as a democracy, we can't really function if people think that elections are not valid. And we also had violence because of the big lie on January 6th. We may have further political violence, and Republican leaders can mitigate that risk by saying one simple, truthful sentence: the election was not stolen. Because of their refusal to say that, for the most part, it leads to people who continue to believe the big lie, who then will really upend our democracy and likely cause violence in the process. So I hope Republican leaders come to their senses and really quash this big lie.
Turning to the Department of Justice and the revelation in the last few days that the Department of Justice during President Trump's term went to Apple, seized metadata of members of the House Intelligence Committee, Democrats, including family members, including a minor, and we know what has been at play in terms of targeting members of the press. The chair of your committee, the Judiciary Committee, Jerry Nadler, said last night that they're going to hold hearings on this, going to look into it. Obviously, you'll have subpoena power if you need for Sessions and Barr and others. I wonder what you will ask them.
Oh, let me first commend Chairman Nadler for his leadership, and I'm very pleased he has now directed an investigation into this scandal during the Trump DOJ years. I know that this investigation is important for two reasons. First, I support their Inspector General investigation at the Department of Justice, but the Inspector General does not have jurisdiction over former employees like Bill Barr, Jeff Sessions. The House Judiciary Committee, as you pointed out, can issue subpoenas to them. And second, Republicans, we urge them to join our investigations, but in the House, Republicans cannot block congressional subpoenas. So this is going to be a full-on investigation, and we're going to get to the bottom of this scandal.
Okay, just letting people know what they're seeing on the right-hand side of their screen. That's Air Force One about to land in beautiful Geneva ahead of the president's summit with Vladimir Putin. We'll keep a very close eye on the president landing there. You're not happy, or at least totally happy, Congressman, with the Garland Justice Department right now. You were speaking to Nicole Wallace a few days ago. You talked about, in your words, a gross abuse of power. vis-a-vis the Barr memo and the decision on not releasing that. Also on the leak investigation of members of Congress into the continued defense of former President Trump in the E. Jean Carroll case. You tweeted that DOJ needs to do better. What is it that you want Merrick Garland to do?
So the Department of Justice, traditionally under both administrations, has maximized presidential power to the detriment of democracy. We've got a separation of powers in terms of the judiciary and of Congress. The current Department of Justice won't even recognize the validity of congressional subpoenas issued to senior executive branch officials. That just got to change because, again, the personnel there took an oath not to the president or the office of president. It was really to the Constitution of the United States. And I just want the Department of Justice to respect the separation of powers. And that was my main point.
I guess I'm wondering what you'd like Garland to do now, because it's quite a charge.
Well, I'm very pleased, actually, that Attorney General Garland recently made a statement about respecting the separation of powers. I think he understood that what happened during the Trump DOJ years was completely unacceptable, and it appears that he is reversing course with the shredding of the Constitution in the last 4 years. I'm very pleased that that Attorney General Garland made those statements.
Okay. Before we go, I'd like to ask you about the Supreme Court, changing issues here, but something that's getting a lot of attention as they head into a term next term, where they will decide on a lot of key issues, including guns, including voting rights, including abortion. Mitch McConnell yesterday in an interview said it's highly unlikely he would let President Biden fill a Supreme Court vacancy in 2024 if the Republicans retake the Senate. My question to you is if you agree with your Democratic colleague, Mondaire Jones, for example, who said that 82-year-old Justice Stephen Breyer should retire after this term, and Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who told my colleague Dana Bash that she is inclined to say that she agrees with that. Do you?
Justice Breyer has been an amazing Supreme Court justice. This is a very personal decision for him. My recommendation would be the same as Representative Jones and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, which is that I do believe that he should retire prior to the midterms. I think that would be best for our country.
Congressman Ted Lieu, thank you.
Thank you.